Test. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Media Day. We have on the podium now Coach John Beilein. He will open up with the statement, and then we'll open up the floor for questions. Those of you unfamiliar with our format, please raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone to you, and please tell us your name and your media affiliation. Coach.
Yeah, thank you. It's exciting. It's thrilling to be to have this day come. So the happiest I'll be, however, will be tomorrow around 10 o'clock when we start practice. We've been able to do parts of that over the summer, but not the way you can really practice. But it has been good to hire a great staff. I think that was key for us to, get everybody into town for different things. But now we can attack it. I like the preseason. I like the fact, think back of college is 6 weeks of preseason. And now there is three weeks of preseason and really 1 week before your first game. So those are things that we can adapt to. And I'm just thrilled to be in this position, to have the support I have from our administration, and also to have the coaching staff that we put together. I really love working with the small times where we've had individual workouts with players. And last week, the rookies were in for a whole week because they could come in a week early. We got some work done, never enough, but I really feel that we're as far as we could be at this point. We're going to have this incredible growth mindset all year long. We're going to be known for developing players, developing staff, developing teams. And we're really going to work so hard at really represent the great the Cavalier history. I look at it a little bit like Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. There's a lot of new things going on down there, just like with our basketball program. They didn't have to knock it down and build another one, but they had to repurpose, refinish, rebuild different areas to keep up with the times, and we'll be doing the same thing. And so I think you'll embrace the product, be patient with it, and as we go along, hopefully you're going to see steady improvement, both in the wins and in the losses.
Okay, we're open for questions. Left side, Ron.
Coach Beilein, Ron Potesta with the Sports Animal 1390. First and foremost, welcome to Cleveland.
Thanks, Ron.
You are known as a defensive-minded coach. You were known as that at the University of Michigan. This team statistically toward the bottom of the NBA in team defense. What are some of the things that you're going to harp upon in this training camp defensively?
You're the first one that ever would say I was a defensive-minded coach, by the way. But we were I think we were number one or number two in the country last year.
Yes, sir.
So sort of an offensive-minded coach who got smart and started to delegate defense much more. And that's no, we were historically bad in the history of the NBA bad. And there's a lot of reasons for that, and we're going to correct them. So it's one that as a team we'll just grow every day at learning. JB and I and our entire staff is going to work so hard at having this defensive mindset as a team, so that we can get better in that area. It doesn't make a difference how pretty we do things on offense if we can't stop people. And that will be an emphasis every single day. But that's transition defense, the way the game is now with positionless players, not easy to defend all the actions. We're going to work better and better at it every day to really be able to do it by the end of the year.
John, Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com.
Yes.
How do you define success for the Cavs this season?
That was one of the first. We had a huge culture meeting earlier in the year, or just a couple weeks ago, and that was one of the questions. So it was when we're at the point of the year that our guys and our team, everyone, right, is improving daily, being at their best, showing great habits in games and practices. It won't be on number of wins. It will be. Are you seeing this steady rise in our play? I think Bill Walsh has a great book out. The wins will take care of themselves, and they'll be closely aligned. So if we get better every single day, we're going to have a heck of a year.
I think last time we talked to you, you were talking about meeting up with Kevin. Kevin wasn't with the team in Summer League the way that some of the other veterans were.
Yeah.
What have your interactions been like with Kevin, and how do you see him as part of your offense?
I made 2 trips to New York City to spend time with him, but one when he had the little mini camp, and the other when I just went to see him personally. So I see that he can play the 4 or the 5 for us. If you had the questions about offense, he's got a high skill level. He's a tremendous rebounder, and I'll be able to answer that question more in about a month after we start to put all these things together with him. But I know he's got a skill level to do a lot of things. Now we have to soar with those strengths while we continue to grow his game. You know, he's a 12-year veteran, but with everybody, there's always room for growth.
John Tellich, Fox 8.
Hey, John.
John, what's the biggest key to carrying great practice habits forward to a game and then executing them in the game?
We just talked about that, John. It's a great question, too. It's the discipline that you show in practice, the pace that you have in practice, the way we go about our business in practice. There will not be a different attitude in practice than that. It's not going to be, it's just practice. We're not just talking about practice, right? We're talking about, it is that our practices will be very much like our games. They'll be done at that tempo. There'll be that purposeful drills and things that they can really relate to. We'll say every day before practice, how are we going to practice hard? How are we going to practice smart? And that's the way we'll play as well.
Kenny.
John, Kenny Rhoda, WHBC Radio.
Yeah, Kenny.
What's your biggest challenge coming from the college game to the pro game, as well as being a first-time ever coach at the pro level?
Well, there's a lot of opportunities here instead of challenges. And one of them will be able to really be coaching great players, and hopefully we can do things with at a higher level than we've ever done at college. So I think that probably not having the 6-week practice time, we have to sort of speed things up and get to the most important things while we cannot sacrifice fundamentals. You know, no sport, maybe hockey has this, where you have a 19-year-old and a 31-year-old playing at the same time. I mean, Major League Baseball, when does a 19-year-old come up and play with the 30-year-old guy? It doesn't happen in football ever. So we have to focus on the fundamentals that our young first and second-year players need, with the guys that are really seasoned veterans, like Kevin, like Tristan, who have been here 9 and 12 years respectively. So that's going to probably be the biggest challenge, that Kevin and Tristan aren't bored with the same old, but at the same time, there's certain things that they're always going to be true. You know, throwing the good pass, playing good defense, right? Guarding your man, being a good communicator. But I know they know that, but there's slippage always. But with the young guys, getting them to, you know, how can we enhance their learning curve?
Marla Ridenour,
Hey,
Akron
Marla.
Beacon Journal. Hi. Along the lines of your transition, were you more excited when this week rolled around than you were past college seasons?
I think it would be very similar to when the first practices at, you know, any time that I was in a 4-year college. Actually, even the 2-year colleges. The only difference was, Marla, I haven't been recruiting for the last month. I've been in there. It's been so, and my assistants haven't been recruiting for the last month, where they were on the road. When are we going to talk basketball? You know, it was different. So now we've really been able to do that. I hope you're going to see that a little bit. But we've spent a lot of time out here in basketball trying to say what fits best, guessing what fits best for this team. We're going to find out next 3 weeks.
Do you feel, though, like the challenge, are you revitalized by this?
Oh, yeah. This is great. I was up at 5:50 this morning. I was on the treadmill at 6. I did a great workout. I'm excited. I'm really excited about, and I can't tell you enough how excited I am about our staff. That the pieces that we've put together right there are they're unified. We're working together. They're really committed to making this really work, and I think that the team will see that, and we're all going to grow because of it.
Greg Swartz, Bleacher Report. You touched on Kevin Love a little bit, but what do you need from him, both from a production and a leadership standpoint this year? And do you have any plans to occasionally rest him throughout the year like we've seen with other stars in the NBA?
The biggest thing is I think he's as healthy as he's ever been right now. He's grown in with great health. He had an incredible summer of really the last 2 months of really getting his body in great shape. Even if it wasn't as much playing basketball as get himself right, but he did do a lot of that as well. So, with him, probably the biggest areas is being able to play both positions well and be able to guard both positions well, because we are going to need him in both areas. I mean, he's a five-man. He's a nightmare for another five to guard. At the same time, he's also got some ability where he can take advantage of smaller fours. So the last part was. Yep. Yeah, I think that's, we've Kobe Altman and the administration has hired a performance team sort of expert that we're going to try to look at our schedule and find the right days that is a very real possibility. To try to get it so when are the proper resting times for him or any of our players, so that we can still win games, but also try to do whatever we can to lengthen his career, lengthen his season.
Hey, John, Jason Lloyd from The
Hey,
Athletic.
Jason.
You don't have a ton of experience with losing games recently, but early, it's your first year in programs. Obviously, you're used to having to put things in place and lose
Not
games.
sleeping at night, yes.
Well, that's what I was going to
good.
ask. Do you have to alter your mindset at all
Yeah.
when you know the losses are coming early, when you know that this is
Yeah.
a long-term thing?
Yeah.
How do you personally have to maybe adjust how you go about things personally and professionally?
Yeah, Jason, you're right, and that's I think about that quite often. I think it's really easy for me to say right now, no, I'm in this for the whole season, and we're going to have this great growth mindset. But when we do, as you said, we were very fortunate the way we've been able to win particularly the last 3 years at Michigan, and now there's a chance we could lose more. We lost 7 games last year, and there's a chance you could lose. I think we have 11 games like right out of the gut, and so that it's easier said than done. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. You have no choice. You're playing. It's like a tournament. It's a year-long tournament. You got to play well. You don't have time to think, and you just get ready for the next game. And that's what we're going to do, and that's how I'll look at it.
David Glazier from the News Herald and
Yeah.
Morning Journal. At the level you coach in Division I basketball, at that salary level as well, you must have been privy to discussions about the pros and cons of coaching the 35-game college season versus going to the NBA and the potentially much longer season. Was there any part of that before you signed on here that you had to talk yourself through? Is this worth doing it? Is this what I want to do?
Very little of that, because here's the way I feel about it. We had 125 practices last year at Michigan. Probably, I don't know how many we'll have, but I've talked with other NBA guys, that they might have 50 practices a year. 125 practices. 85 of those practices were 2.5 hour, like, intense, prepare all day. There's still, we start October 1, right here. Michigan's already started. We play till April 1. NBA plays till April 15th, and then the playoffs. So they're both long seasons, and it's just games actually for me are, they're less. There's a lot of preparation. I prepare for every practice just like I do a game. So it's going to be the same type of thing. So there was a trade-off in that. That it could be done, and it wasn't going to be, more stressful than it is during the basketball season.
And a quick follow, as a fellow member of the born in 52 class, 67, you're up at 5:50, you're on the treadmill, you're ready to
Yeah.
go. Is the energy there at 67 that was there at 47 and 57?
Wait a minute, I'm born in 53.
53,
Don't rob
pardon
me of
me.
that important year,
I promise I won't.
right? And yeah.
Close enough, though.
No.
Is the same energy there that was there at 47 or 57?
There's more. Really, there's more. Because I didn't spend, and I love, college basketball is so good to me. But it is all July, half of August, all of September. You're living in a suitcase all those days. August, not as much, but you got people coming in. I came into the office every day, and, would work and leave at 4 o'clock, and would go home, and there's a different dynamic to the year that has given me a great sense of great energy. I'm not saying new energy. I've always had energy, but it's really something that I feel so good going into the season. No, don't rob me of any years here.
We'll go with our last two. We're going to go Spencer here and then Emmett in the back.
Spencer Davies, Basketball Insiders. When you talked to the coaches that you did when you were coming into the NBA, what did they tell you about what to expect as far as the attitude in the locker room and being mentally tough to get through a season?
Well, I rely a lot on talking with both Billy Donovan and Brad Stevens, but J.B. Bickerstaff has been really a help to me, as is Tony Lang, who has spent, and Dan Giroux, who's also on our front bench, that have done great jobs of just preparing me for some of those days. And we're coaching a lot. We're coaching a lot of veterans. We're coaching a lot of young men. I think there's very similar strategy to those, that you learn from defeat. You get better from defeat. Defeat doesn't kill you, right? It's going to make you better. And so as a result, you don't want to lose too much now, but it's that same thing. And also, handling adversity is easier than handling prosperity. So those are those areas where you got to be mentally tough to handle a winning streak too. And so all those things come into play as you're reading the pulse of the team. You're working your staff. This isn't just a John Beilein coach team. I have a staff of thousands that will end up doing the same thing of putting this whole positive idea of what's next and how can we improve and what can we learn from today.
Do you look forward to having a guy like Kevin and maybe a guy like Tristan kind of being coaches for you on the floor too?
I expect when we have a player-led team, right, that's when we're a really good team. And if you look at any of our teams, and we've had a lot of success in March the last few years, they were player-led teams. The coaches just were setting things up, and they were doing that. Whether it's Kevin, whether it's Tristan, whether it's Collin Sexton, right, whether it's Darius Garland, anybody can move into that leadership position. And so it's really important that we're connected with them so they can take over and we can just adapt to changes we need to make.
Emmett Golden, ESPN
Hi, Emmett.
Cleveland. How you doing? John, I know it's an optimistic time, but what is your biggest concern heading into your first year as an NBA head coach?
I'm extremely optimistic right now. I'm not concerned about anything except am I going to be the best coach every day? Just getting them prepared in this short time period where we're having good practices. I will know much more next week about what we have to do in the following week, the next week, how you get ready for these games. I think that's the thing. I'm really pride myself in being very prepared, if not over-prepared, for every day, every practice. How do you do that at such a pace? And anybody that I talked to has said, hey, it's like riding a bike. You'll just do it, and you actually have more time to prepare as well. I don't have an off day again where I go recruiting. Right, I have an off day where I have an off day to prepare. So it's really going to be that. I think I'm going to like that. Even though the college game was so good, I don't resent any part of it. I just love this new change in my personal life and this coaching staff I have around me.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks
Coach.
everyone.
We will start cycling players through to the podium here shortly.
Sir, can you sit down a second?
making my weekend.
Questions?
Chris Manning, SB Nation. How do you, from last year when you shut off the passing, shut off the three-point shooting, how do you make that something you can continue to do this year?
For me, it's just about making it more fluid. Obviously last year being my first year of really, getting to experiment with that, having a full off season to invest in that was huge for me. Obviously the three-point shot is going to be, big time for me going forward. So I think I shot something like, I want to say 20 or so thousand threes just in this gym this summer. And, that's something I really plan on, utilizing this year. And, obviously the playmaking for me, that's just a feel thing. So getting out here and getting to play with, Dylan, Darius, some of the new guys KP, guys that we brought in, having that connection is just going to be, it's just a feel thing.
And what was being on Men in Blazers like?
Gosh, I love Men in Blazers. For me, I might love soccer more than I love basketball. So for me, anytime I get to talk football, soccer, is time well spent.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. You mentioned spending time around some of the rookies. What stands out about Darius in particular?
To me, it's his feel for the game. He's just such a natural, such a natural point guard. I mean, there are, I fancy myself a pretty good passer. And there are some passes he sees, even playing pickup, where it's like, what? Like, where did you, I don't know how you saw him open, or, just certain, the feel of when to score, when to pass, when to probe, when to kick it back out. Darius has thoroughly impressed me in the little time I've been with him.
So you've spent time here in the practice facility, being around Coach.
Yeah.
What are your initial impressions of him, and have you talked about how he wants to use you moving forward? I know you were talking at Summer League how you added a little bit more to your game.
Yeah. About Coach, I was saying it over here, and I heard earlier somebody ask a question about, does he have? I think it was maybe you have the energy. Yeah. He has more energy than I do. I mean, he's always going, always got something on his mind, ready to talk about and teach and coach, and it's really exciting to see, because as a player, that's what you want. You want somebody that is, just so eager to get started that they're, got so many things going at once that they can't even slow down. You want that excitement. And, personally, I think he's going to be great for us as a team, just because, he's won at every level he's been at. So I don't know what would make this any different. But also for me individually, I know me and him have talked a lot about the way I'm going to play this year, and I think it's going to be utilized a lot more on the wing, as opposed to playing as a true big. And quite frankly, I think that suits me better. With some of these 7-foot guys out there, now that the NBA is making us take our shoes off, you guys are going to see my real height, and it's not something that I'm necessarily proud of, banging with the 7-footers. But no, I think I'll play more on the wing, and like I talked about earlier, just getting to utilize my three-point shot and pretty quick first step getting to the rim.
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal. The three-point thing, did you have someone on the staff coaching you, or were you just figure it's getting up as many shots as possible?
So we do have a shooting coach, obviously, but for me it was more so about repetition. I last year was, my first dipping my toe in the water, and so my shot is fluid, it's comfortable, it's just getting comfortable shooting it in a game, and I've certainly taken the necessary steps to be able to do that and feel confident in that this summer, and going into training camp, even the pickup games we've played, I'm extremely confident in the fact that I've put in the work and that it's going to pay off this year.
And I don't know if you've been around Garland and Sexton together enough to, but how do you see that dynamic growing?
I think it could be great. Obviously, they're both so young. That I think Collin 20 and Darius is 19. I mean, that's ridiculous. So the fact that they get a chance to learn from each other, play with each other, and play off of each other, I think is going to be big time. Especially that you have, you got some pretty good veterans to learn from. I mean, Kev's going into his 12th year. Double T's going into his 9th, I believe. Even myself, I'm going into my 5th. But just the fact that they've got some pretty cerebral ball players to be bouncing their ideas and their the way they learn, bounces off of us. I think it's going to be really big for those guys.
Bleacher Report. Hey, Larry.
How's it going?
As the unofficial guide to Cleveland, we saw you take the rookies to a Browns practice.
Yes.
What other kind of things, activities, events did you show them or organize with them this summer?
So we went to the Browns practice. Me and Dylan went to an Indians game together. There are some other things that I've got planned coming up. Little breaks from training camp here and there, but I wanted to make sure everybody gets here first before I start, before I really start showing them the city. And those are some things that, you can bank on. I'll definitely be taking more of a leadership role, and I'll get them out.
Is there any chance we could see you and CJ McCollum get together for a Cleveland Browns podcast at some point in your careers?
Look, I would love nothing more than it. If I'm not talking soccer or basketball, I'd love to talk football. Plus, I think me and CJ might be the two biggest Browns fans. I would say exist, but I know there's people that are going to dispute that. So I'll say the two biggest NBA Browns fans there is. No, I know he has his own podcast. Hey, CJ, where's the invite, man? Let's talk Baker, Nick Chubb, Miles, and the guys. I'm down for it.
James Erpine, 92.3 The Fan. Larry, how do you balance being a veteran and obviously with Love, Tristan, as you mentioned, how do you stay patient with Darius and stay patient with Collin as they continue to develop?
I think it's a little bit easier. I don't want to say it's easier for me, but it's easy for me to stay patient with these guys because while I'm, quote unquote, a veteran, going into it's only my 5th year in the league. Like I just finished my rookie contract. So, while I feel like I have the experience in the league to, be able to help them and guide them along their, along this experience that, as they get used to the NBA, I'm also young enough to still be going through the same things. There's, like I said, I'm only in my 5th year. Hopefully I've got 10 more years of this. Hopefully I can hang around like Channing, but still, I think, I think it's the easiest, makes it so much easier that both of those guys they're such great people that like they take coaching so well, and they take, you can pull either one of them aside. Hey Darius, on that pass, to Z, he wants a bounce pass as compared to a lob, just certain things that you can pull them aside. Hey Collin, whatever you wanted to say, and they're both so receptive to that. It's I think that's what's going to make them both so very successful.
Larry, Spencer Davies, Basketball Insiders. Last season took a lot of mental toughness to get through. This time around, do you feel like that's going to be still necessary with a new group, with a new coaching staff, and all of that to be able to hold the locker room together, no matter what happens, even winning streaks, losing streaks, whatever it takes? Is it going to take mental toughness to get through that?
100%. As any basketball season does. This is it's an 82-game season, hopefully more. But, there's going to be lumps and bumps. There's going to be growing pains and bruises and all that stuff. So, we have two, basically, we have a rookie point guard, one coming off his 2nd year, and a lot of new guys that are going to be, and a lot of new faces that you're going to see this year. It's going to take time to mesh, take time to gel together, and all that takes mental toughness. So, especially with hopefully me shouldering more of the leadership load in the locker room this year, I'll be mental toughness is what it's all about, and it's not just going to be from me. It's going to be from Kev, Tristan, Darius, and Collin. It's going to be from all of us, and this is a unique team, and I think that we can be really good. But it's like you said, it's going to take a lot of stick-to-itiveness.
Hey Larry, Evan Damron, Forbes. You talked about adding shooting to your game over the summer, and working more on the wing during this season under Beilein's new offense. Do you think you're going to incorporate a lot of your playmaking into your game as well, acting more as a point forward in this, point forward in this sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, I did a little bit of that last year. Grabbing it off the rim and pushing myself, and there will definitely be more of that this year. I dribbled a whole lot last year and really couldn't even dribble. So, now that I had an off season to actually, tighten up my handle and really work on, being able to get places without thinking about how I'm going to do it in terms of dribbling. I'll absolutely be distributing and playmaking a lot this year. When Darius and Collin don't have it and aren't sharing, when they don't have it, I'll be like a third secondary playmaker out there. So I just really look forward to embracing this new role and learning and growing with these guys.
Last question.
Hey, Larry, Jacob Krantz, WJW. You were brought over in a trade that was to be a key piece in a championship team.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think you will transition? I know you spoke about three-point shooting, but in becoming that Cleveland guy, because when people talk about leaders, they generally talk Tristan or Kevin. You're definitely the Cleveland, the Browns fan. What do you think you're going to bring to your game that's going to make this a potential playoff run this year, aside from just a guaranteed championship with LeBron?
I didn't quite follow your question.
Sorry, what are you adding to your game aside from the three-point shot? How do you go from being a key player in a championship team to maybe the second or third best guy on a team that's working to get a seventh or eighth playoff spot?
To me, that's all about, obviously, every year in the NBA, you're working to become a better player. If you're not, that's how you see yourself out of the league. So, for me, obviously, I worked on, like I said, we talked about shooting, we talked about playmaking. I plan on, I plan on being one of the league leaders in steals this year. I think I'm very capable of doing that, and that just shows offense and defense. I'm out there trying to lead, but I think the biggest thing going forward is, like you said, you generally think of Kevin and Tristan as the two kind of voices in the locker room, and I'll be adding my name to that. That's something that this summer, that a little bit last year, this summer, and going into this year, that I know I have the ear of a lot of my teammates and the coaching staff. So that's something that I'm definitely going to be expecting out of myself, and these guys will be expecting out of me. Hearing my voice a lot and making sure I lead both vocally and by example. So, but I don't think the mentality changes from 2 years ago. At that point, it was win every single game. This year, it's win every single game. That's what we're in this to do. We're here to compete. We're here to get better, and we're here to, we're here to make a name for ourselves, and that's what it's all about.
Thanks, Larry.
No problem. Thanks, guys. Good to see you.
Questions?
Hey, JD, Chris Manning from SB Nation. How do you feel like the playing in the World Cup this summer prepared you for this year?
Yeah, I believe the World Cup experience was really important for me. It was just great. This was my first World Cup, even though I played in 2015. But in that time, I was the youngest player in the team, so I wasn't playing that much. And this is the first World Cup that I really had a chance to play, and take some responsibilities during the World Cup. And I believe it was really important for me to be there. And also it was really important just to be here, and it was really important for me to be ready for this year.
And do you feel like, as far as your possible extension goes, do you feel like something will be done by the deadline or no at this point?
So really don't know. That's the one thing that I can say is only that I'm really happy that I'm part of this organization, of this family, and as long as I'm here, I'm gonna give my best every time, every game, every practice, and I really love Cleveland, and we'll see what's going on.
Hey, Chetty, Greg Swartz, Bleacher Report. Last year was your first full year as a starter. What did you go into the summer thinking, okay, now I know what I need to work on the most, and what was that?
For me, I think the biggest challenge, especially the last year, was I was, sometimes I was consistent, sometimes not. So, I believe that's something that I was work on. I was trying to be strong mentally and physically, and during this summer, really worked for like 3-4 months really hard just to get ready for the World Cup and to get ready for the season. So the biggest goal for me is going to be just to be consistent, every game, and to give my best to the team every night. Of course, there's a lot of things that I can improve on, and that's what it really makes me happy. But yeah, especially the threes, and my defense is going to really be important this year. So that's what I'm going to have to improve more.
Ben Axelrod, WKYC. Going back to the World Cup, is there anything you learned there or anything from that experience that you can take and build on this year heading into this season with the Cavs?
I believe we didn't go as far as we wanted to go. And, especially after that USA game, after we lost by 1 point, was really tough for us, for everybody, especially for me, to get mentally and physically ready against Czech Republic, because that was our key game, and we lost it. But it was just really experience. It was really good experience for me just to be there and just live that moment. And I believe that I feel like much growth towards this season.
Spencer Davies, Basketball Insiders. You've been on a championship team, and you've been on a team that was rebuilding last year. Do you feel like going through both of those has you equipped to prepare for whatever this year, and the mental toughness that it takes to get through a season like this?
For sure, yes. Like you said, it was first 2 years it was like white and black, and so I saw both sides. I saw going to the finals and not making the playoffs. So that's why I believe that those 2 years really made me better, and this year I believe that we have a much better team, and I think we're gonna have a chance to surprise a lot of teams this year. We're gonna just have to keep playing together, share the basketball like we did towards the end of the season, and I really believe that we have a bright future in front of us.
Hey, Chad, how much will a healthy Kevin Love improve this team in all areas of the game this year?
A lot, because especially last year when Kevin was hurt, we really had a problems, because I was playing at 4 sometimes, and even mostly I played at 4, towards 53 games I played at 4, and after Kevin Love got back, I believe that everybody was happy, and he's just another weapon offensively. an all-star player, having him in a team, it's great for us as a young players. You know, we just have a lot of things to learn from him. And you know, last year when he came back, you know, we won a couple of games, which was huge for us, and we just saw how important he is for us.
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal. Just, you probably haven't been around Coach Beilein that much, but what has impressed you most about him so far?
So yeah, we had a chance to meet each other in Vegas, and you know, we talked, and I'm really excited to work with him. You know, I'm not watching college basketball too much, really, but I heard great stuff for the Coach Beilein, and I'm really excited to work with him. It is more like European style of basketball, so that's why I'm kind of used to it. But yeah, like I said, can't wait to work with him and all these coaches. You know, I believe we have a really good coaching staff and all these players. I mean, like I said, we have a bright future.
How do you go about improving your defense? Do you have to learn? Is it something you have to learn, or just hustle, or more? I mean,
yeah, just a learning point, because I believe that you know, every night I'm giving my best, you know, offensively and defensively. Hustle-wise, you know, I believe that I don't have problem, because I was always the guy who was giving 100% every night. So just, you know, it's a teaching point to have to guard some players, because, you know, throughout those years, like first and second year, I was learning, and I'm still learning how to guard some players. That's the only thing that I'm going to have to learn. Yeah.
Anything else? Last question.
Kyle Molnelli, WZIP Akron. Like this time last year, there's a lot of unknown going on with the team. Like, what are our expectations? Could we make the playoffs again this year? You kind of know where you guys are at. Is it kind of easier to manage expectations knowing where you guys are at rather than last year?
I believe we can say that yes, we are a better team right now with, you know, Darius, with Dylan, Kevin, and Kevin Love being back, you know, healthy. I think for everybody it's going to be really important to start season, you know, everybody healthy, what is the most important. But yeah, so we have a young team, a young core, and we're going to just have to keep working hard and build every game and learn from the games. And I believe like in a couple of years that we're going to be one of the dangerous teams. And I hope that we're going to make a playoffs. You know, everybody wants to go to the playoffs, but I think the most important thing is for us to learn every game.
Thanks, Jetty.
Okay.
Thank you.
podium.
Yeah, you guys, good. How you doing? Good.
Questions?
Chris Manning, SB Nation. Deli, what went into the change in your shot form that we saw in some of the videos from over the summer?
Put a lot of time into it. Just try to get it out easier, quicker, less effort. Yeah.
How do you go about doing that? Considering, I mean, I don't know how long you'd had that other form, but how do you go about approaching, like, completely redoing your form at this point in your career?
I think, you're always continuously refining your form, and it'd been something I've been thinking about for a little while. It just been creeping back behind my head a little bit, and wanted to get it out a bit quicker. And this was the longest period I've had to work on my game and work on my body without having national team or something right in the middle of the summer, so it was perfect timing. Yeah.
Brendan Gulick, 92.3 The Fan. Welcome back.
Thanks.
Wanted to ask you about your leadership and what you think your biggest attributes can be with a lot of young guards on this team.
I think just being consistent every day, trying to set a good example at practice, in games, and then just talking to the guys about what I see, they can do, or what reads to look at in games, in practice, in the film room, watching game tape on planes, things like that. There's a lot of time and areas you can always improve at.
Hi, Deli. John Tellage, Fox 8. Can you speak a little bit about just the transition to Coach Beilein, his system, how you anticipate that? And then the second one is a little bit off the beaten path. I saw there's a deli belly in the... How exciting is that for you guys?
I'll answer the first one. Really looking forward to playing for Coach Beilein. Have got to know him a little bit already, and I think just the positivity and energy he brings every day, and his attention to detail is going to be very important for a team that has a lot of younger guys. And offensively, I think having the floor spread, moving the ball a lot, moving players a lot, I think is a really effective way to play. Second, very excited. Just can't wait. Thanks.
David Glazier from the News Herald and Morning Journal. You were here when LeBron was here, and Kyrie and Kevin, and that whole thing happened, and expectations were sky high, nothing less than. And now you're here when expectations are pitched somewhat lower. I mean, as a veteran, where is your head on that in terms of expectations for this team in the real world?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about expectations and things like that, even when, Kyrie and LeBron and that were here, you're never worried about what everyone on the outside was saying. No offense to you guys, but it's always been an internal focus on the team and what we need to do to improve and get better each day, because it is a long NBA season, and if we continue to improve, I think we can surprise a lot of people.
James Rapine, 92.3 The Fan. Have you gotten to work with Darius at all? And if so, what are your early impressions of him?
I just got back earlier in the week, so not a whole lot yet. Just watched him a little bit and pick up, but sees the floor really well. But looking forward to playing with him.
What do you think about that dynamic between him and Collin and how it could work on the court, just based on what you know about him? I know you said you haven't worked with him a lot.
Yeah, I think I'll have a better answer after training camp, but I think with the way the NBA is going and with Coach Beilein's system, having two guards out the top, I think the more ball handlers you can have on the floor, the better.
Deli, Mike Rizzo, ESPN Cleveland. Kind of following off of that,
Where do you see Collin taking a step in his second season this year, and how do you think he could really get up there with the great point guards in this league?
I think he's put a lot of work into his body. I think just being stronger and will help him on both ends of the floor, defensively getting through picks, and then offensively being able to finish at the rim and get straight lines on drives. But it really looks like he's worked on his body and his game a lot, and I think he finished the year really, really strong. Didn't look like he got fatigued at all, so I think that momentum leading into this year, having a stronger body, and I'm excited to see what he can do.
Deli, Ron Potesta with the Sports Animal 1390. You've been known to bring it defensively, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you personally will do to bring out the best in training camp to the young kids, Garland and Sexton. What do you think your role is going to be? I know maybe coming off the bench, but what do you think your role is going to be defensively and the entire season?
I don't think it's going to change too much. I think it's always just bring energy defensively, keep us organized offensively, make sure everybody is involved and playing hard.
Matthew, Cameron Fields, Cleveland.com. Just playing in the World Cup with Australia, how does that help your game develop?
Yeah, I think having a different role with the Aussie team translates to coming back here, being more aggressive, and I think playing in those type of games where it's like a finals intensity every game, and then coming back into training camp and the preseason, I'll be ready to go.
Anything else? Thanks, Deli.
Thanks, guys.
Questions?
Hi, Darius. Greg Swartz, Bleacher Report. Just want to get your opinion on your early results playing with Collin in the backcourt, and when you guys are together, who kind of takes on the role of defending shooting guards in that matchup?
I mean, it's been really fun playing with Collin. We can both play different positions, like you said, the 1 and the 2. I mean, he's really talented. I mean, he can do a lot of things on the floor, and I can definitely learn from that. So it's going to be a really good season. We're just going to work hard, feed off each other, and, I mean, we can defend any position. That's just a mindset. So, I mean, whatever coach wants us to do, we're going to do it.
And then how much does that help having an all-star like Kevin Love at power forward to just give you that pick-and-roll partner and have that veteran presence on the court now in your rookie season?
It's really cool. Having him and Tristan, that's a really big factor. Like I said, they have really championship mentality and all-stars. So, I mean, it's really fun just playing with them.
Chris Manning, SB Nation. In playing pickup with guys like Ben Simmons, Tristan, all the other clutch guys, what did you get out of that to help you prepare for this year?
I mean, them guys are just really talented. I mean, it's cool just playing against them and just having a competitive nature. So it's really cool just playing against them guys and learning from them. I mean, I've worked out with Ben, worked out with Tristan, and me and Tristan talked about what we're going to do this year and pick and roll and things like that. So it's really fun.
When you played Collin once in high school, if I'm correct. What do you remember from going up against him back then?
He had a smooth 30, and we took a loss. So I was really frustrated about that. I mean, Collin's really talented, like I said. I mean, everyone knows that he had a really good rookie season, and hopefully we can do something together and make some magic happen.
Darius, Kyle Molinelli, WZIP Akron. Do you feel like there's certain expectations, because you're a high draft pick, that you need to meet this season with this team, with its younger core?
I don't think it's any expectations. I mean, I do that for myself. I mean, it's just, I'm just coming to the season just to learn and play really well, of course. Get some wins, work really hard every day. So, I mean, I'm here. I'm just here to learn things. I mean, Coach Beilein and like, all the other guys like Collin, Larry, Tristan, K-Love, man, they're going to teach me a lot. So I'm here to just soak in as much as I can.
Corey Perez, Metro Networks. With you and Coach Beilein both coming from college, this being your first year in the NBA, do you think there's something you guys can kind of lean on one another as you guys both kind of learn on the fly this season?
Yeah, for sure. Coach Beilein, he has a really good resume, and we really like to win. So we're definitely going to learn from each other. He's going to learn a lot of things from the veterans on the team, and I mean, we're just going to try to win as many games as we can.
James Erpine, 92.3 The Fan. Darius, what's one thing about your game, or a couple things we know about your shooting, but that fans might not know, having watched you just a little bit in college?
I'm a leader on and off the floor. I like to get my teammates involved. I mean, I'm a winner. I'm really competitive, so I'm trying to bring that to the Cavs this year.
As far as leading goes, is it intimidating trying to be a leader in your first year in the NBA?
Not really. I mean, the guys are just taking me in as a rookie, of course, but they're definitely going to listen to me and Collin as we play the point guard position. I mean, I'm still learning a lot of things from them, and me and the other guys are trying to just interact with each other, bond with each other on and off the floor, just to get a good feel for each other.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Being around Coach B for the last couple of months the way that you have, what have you learned about him that you didn't already know?
He's really into his craft. I mean, he's really passionate about the Beilein ball, and that's the ball with the stripe on it with rotation on the shot and the good passes. I mean, he's really into it. So that's what I like about him. He's really a gym rat. He's always in here working or doing something with the guys. So, I mean, it's really fun being around him.
For you, given the way that your college season went and the time that you missed during Summer League in terms of playing that competition, where are you physically and mentally heading into your first training camp?
I'm ready. I mean, it's nothing else to say. I'm ready. All the guys are ready. I mean, we're here to win games, like I said. Like, it's nothing else.
Spencer Davies, Basketball Insider. Hi, Darius. With the guys that you know that are in the league already, have you spoken with them about the kind of mental toughness it takes to get through a season in the NBA and and really keep your head down no matter what happens, the highs and the lows?
Yeah. I mean, Rich is my agent, so he's dealt with a lot of guys. So I heard a lot of stories about different guys. Yeah, it's a long season. 82 games. It's a really long season, and I mean, coming from college, I only played 5. It's gonna be it's gonna be crazy for me just to play all 82. So, I mean, I'm ready though. I'm ready just to attack the season really hard, play my game, get my teammates involved, and do what we have to do to win.
Darius, Mike Rizzo, ESPN Cleveland. You saw last year point guards like Trae Young, Luka Doncic, rookies have real success in the league. How do you think that you could be one of those guys that has early success in their rookie season?
I'm taking it one day at a time. I mean, I have no expectations. Like I said, I'm just going to come in, work hard every day, do what Coach Beilein asked me to do, and do what I have to do to get wins. I mean, I think the success is going to come a little bit later. But, I mean, I'm here to work hard. I'm here to do what I have to do.
Rick Nolan from the Medina Gazette. What was it like last year having basketball taken away from you so early in the season, and how hungry has that made you to come back with even better?
It was really hard for me. I've never had an injury before, so it was really tough just being gone from the game that I really love. But, I mean, I'm fully healthy now. I'm back in the gym. I mean, I'm ready to just attack the season, just go forward.
David Glazer from News Herald and the Morning Journal. What's the best piece of advice about basketball, life in basketball, that you got from your dad?
I mean, the ball's going to stop bouncing. So just take one day at a time and play like it's your last game. My dad has taught me a lot, so that's the one thing that always stuck with me.
Darius, Ron Potesta with the Sports Animal 1390. While you and Collin are going to be incredibly talented, unorthodox as it is height-wise, you're both 6'2", and off guard in the NBA is normally 6'6", 6'7". How do you compensate for the fact that one of you will be 5 and sometimes even 6 inches smaller than your opponent at the 2 guard?
We're always going to play hard. So some guys take some nights off, but we're going to play hard for 82 games, so that's going to get us through everything.
Last question.
Darius, Jeff Longville, WZIP Akron. So what would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned since transitioning to the professional level?
That's a good question. Like I said, it's a long season. 82 games is really hard. But one thing that I've actually learned, you have to take one day at a time. I mean, the schedule is really long. You have to put your family and all the other hobbies that you have into your tight schedule. So just managing your time really well is probably the most important thing I've learned.
Thanks, Darius. Kevin Love will be at the podium in a minute. Jordan Clarkson to the podium.
Oh. What's up? What's up?
Questions for Jordan?
Chris Manning, explanation. What was the workouts that Kobe organized? What were those like?
Oh, I feel like those are the best 2 days of my summer. He sat us down. We had a whole schedule. Phil Handy that worked here as well, he put them on. He had a great group of coaches as well that were involved with it. But I feel like those 2 days I learned so much. And it was great. We competed too towards the end of each day, and it was just great. It was an amazing process.
And considering this is a contract year for you, do you have to approach this year any differently, considering you'll be a free agent next summer?
Nah, I don't think so. I'm just gonna come in here, play, just do what I do. I kind of have a role that I've been playing, these last years as a sixth man, and just coming in and just doing what I do, perform and impact the game when I can.
Hey, Jordan. Greg Swartz, Bleacher Report. I think last year you were like the second leading scorer off the bench in the NBA, yet when they did the Sixth Man of the Year voting, you weren't one of the 14 players that got a vote. Did that surprise you, and does that serve as motivation for this year?
They don't show no love to JC, but it's all good. It's some motivation just for me to come out there and play and perform. That's all it is, just adding more fuel to the fire so we can go out there, perform, and do some things. I feel like winning would do us some justice as well, too.
Anything else?
Jordan, James Rapine, 92.3 The Fan. What are your early impressions of Darius in his game?
He has a great feel for the game. Plays slow, makes a lot of the right plays. He makes the easy ones. I didn't know he could shoot it that well either when I seen him. But man, he plays at an amazing pace. He's very shifty. He makes everybody around him better, and it's gonna be amazing to watch him play.
What do you think the dynamic between him and Collin can be, both being young guards expected to help carry this team?
It's gonna be interesting. Both of those guards both have a different style. Collin plays fast downhill. Darius is a little slow, not in terms of his speed, but the way he processes the game. He watches the whole court, the flow of the game, and everything. So both of those guys, I feel like, are really gonna complement each other when they get on the floor with each other.
Spencer Davies, Basketball Insiders. JC, going through what you guys went through last year takes a lot of mental toughness. Do you feel like you're more equipped because you went through what you went through last year to deal with those ebbs and flows of a season like this with a new coaching staff and new pieces and such like that to get through that?
Yeah, I think a lot of that last year. I felt we had almost 3 seasons, to be honest with you, because we had those first games with T. Lou, then we had the time with Larry Drew, then we had a time where basically nobody was playing because everybody was injured. So definitely kind of just change your mindset in terms of everything, and prepared us for this year. I feel like us coming in here, everybody should have a really open mind and ready to compete and play, because everything is new. We got a new coaching staff, and we should just be ready.
Mike Rizzo, ESPN Cleveland. JC, what are your early impressions of Coach Beilein? Yeah, I'm over here.
Yeah.
What are your early impressions of Coach Beilein, and how do you see yourself fitting into that two-guard set? I know he harps a lot about that.
Yeah, I think it's a good system that he's put in, from what we've seen already. Just in terms of the ball movement and player movement, I think I've been saying this a lot today. Taking those 5-6 dribbles to score, that stuff could be tiring, man, at points. So it'd be nice to have some easy 1-2 dribble possessions where we getting easy layups and open threes and stuff like that. At the same time, it's exciting as well. So I'm really excited for what he's got for us, as well as JB and his defensive stuff. So I think we finished last year defensively. So I hope JB comes in here and cleans all that up.
JC, Ron Potesta with the Sports Animal 1390. This is your contract year. In a perfect world, would it be the right thing for you and your agent to hammer out a long-term deal, stay in Cleveland, get it done before the season starts?
I mean, if it happens, it happens. You know, I want to be here in Cleveland. I like what they got going on here in terms of, you know, everything being new, the coaching staff, everything. It's kind of almost like a fresh start, another one. But, I mean, if it happens, it happens. If not, I mean, we got to sit down and look what our possibilities could be. But, you know, this is, you know, a lovely place. I love this. I love the arena. I love the culture that we're creating here. So, you know, hopefully I will be in a Cleveland jerseys for long term.
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal. You talked about Beilein's offense or whatever, but anything personally strike you about him? I mean, he said just now he got up at 5:50 a.m. to work out. I mean, does he amaze you, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of excitement, man. I think he's ready to go, ready to put his hard hat on and work, and really prove himself as an NBA coach. I know he's coached college for a while, so I think he's want to come in here and really prove himself and prove to us that, you know, he can get it done.
Anything else? Thanks, Jordan. Kevin Love is on his way to the podium. Questions?
James Erpine, 92.3 The Fan. Kevin, at this stage of your career, how do you balance being patient with the young guys while also wanting to win? Because you've been there, done that, and you probably want to continue to.
Well, I think the good thing is we have a number of guys that have played in this league a while, but we also have that balancing act of, trying to be patient with the young guys, trying to bring them along as quickly as possible. But I do think that, we're going to have that, we are going to have a good balance, and we're going to be able to move forward pretty quickly because we've already, those guys know exactly what we want. I think we have a good, look or North Star as far as we want to go with our culture. So I think it's going to move a little bit faster than maybe some people would expect us to. So we have really good quality character people and players and coaches. So I think that's only going to help us take big steps forward. But there is going to be those are going to be those times where there are going to be growing pains. Regardless of how fast we want this to happen, but we just have to be, very positive, have a great mindset, and just keep moving forward every day. I think that's going to be huge for us.
And what are your early impressions of Darius and what he brings to the court?
He can really shoot it. He's, speaking of really quality human being, he's great, makes the right reads, and, at that position coming into the league, it's not easy, especially because of who you're going up against in this league. It was very similar to Collin last year, and I think you saw some struggles early on, you saw some growing pains, but that second half of the season, especially after All-Star break, he was great, and he made huge strides in the right direction, and I think that built a lot of confidence for him going into the summer. So I think Collin is somebody who can be I know he's young, but be a sounding board for, and with Delly healthy, I think it'll be great for him to go up against a guy like him every day in practice, because he's one of those guys that's going to bring it and make everybody better. I think Delly's just infectious like that. So at that position, I think that can only be good for him.
Kevin Hayden Grove, Cleveland.com. I think I speak for everybody when I say your summer looked pretty unbelievable. Yeah. What was your favorite part? What prompted the travel? We questions all over the place.
I think it was just my curiosity. I try to be a sponge in my growth as well, whether it be on or off the floor. I think that's what the funny thing is. People are like, get in the damn gym and stop traveling, but people didn't see, that I was waking up at, early hours, getting my couple hours of work in, and then going to see what the next adventure was that day. So, I think it was just, I've said the quote 1,000 times now by Bourdain, and that's being relentlessly curious without fear or prejudice. And for me, that's how I've tried to adopt that and live my life in that way. And it's been a lot of fun. But I think the coolest part is just experiencing new stuff, doing stuff way out of your comfort zone. But also I met a lot of really interesting and cool people from different walks of life. So that's probably. I don't want to be that sappy guy, but that's what's been pretty damn cool.
How do you feel? How has it affected you? Is it something that you kind of like? Really just you're coming in with a new mindset, something like that?
Yeah, I think just mentally it's been liberating. I think, so many times in my life, in my career, and this isn't to say that, I talk about that North Star, that my goals and, my even ability or what I try to get accomplished every day isn't solely focused around basketball. But so many times I have these blinders on when I forget that, I do have this life outside of basketball, and in order to be my best self on the court, I have to find some semblance of balance. So, it was fun. Who doesn't love to travel? And, after 4 years of going to the finals, 3 years playing in the finals, I felt like, okay, early on, I'm going to get most of my traveling out of the way. And I'm sure what looked like, 2-3 week trips were really only 4 or 5 days. Just, I guess, in how myself, Kate, and my girlfriend Kate and our dog, lived those days. It must have felt that long, but it was it was a lot of fun to do.
How has the dog helped?
Dog, yeah, it's like a full emotional support. No, I never thought I'd be that guy. I tell everybody, but no, as you guys can see, whoever follows me on social media or spends any time around me, I love that dog to death. And no, it's been good. It's like dogs are your best friend. Every time, if I'm gonna go home today, I'm gonna open up her kennel, and she's gonna think it's the best time of her life every time we see her. So it's fun in that way. So any of you are on the fence about getting a dog, just get one and figure the rest out later.
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal. Kate, okay after the ER?
Yeah, it was funny. We speaking of out of our comfort zone, that day, let me tell you, I know this is all basketball related, but a little story is we got off the bus, and there was a ton of people, and they were kind of selecting rafts for us to go on. They had lists, and somebody had had a private tour, which it was probably us, but it wasn't under our name. And so they want to take it. We said sure. So we didn't know that having extra people on your rafts actually weighs it down, so you're able to go through the rapids. And this happened to be the time where I guess this particular rapid, it's called the Big Kahuna, was at its roughest time throughout the year. It was like a 2-week span. So we just had the two of us and our guide on the raft. And I guess you surf the wave when you get down there, because it pops you up if you don't have enough weight on it. Then the wave comes, and the rapid comes back, and it sent me like I was 90 pounds. So no, but we were laughing afterwards. And I think I posted that the thumbs up, but I think then she got back on the other raft that had picked her up, and she was bleeding. So I guess first head injury in 34 years, but it wasn't that serious. We were laughing about it.
And Coach Beilein mentioned he came to New York a couple times. What were those meetings like, and how, if you took anything away from that?
Yeah, I took away that his wife loves New York City. Yeah. No, I think it was just good to open up that dialogue and conversation about where he sees his team going, how we can all be of service to each other, and how we can, as we mentioned, just help the young players come along so we can make a big step forward. So I think it was just expectations, making sure that we're on the same page, but I don't think that that's accumulated over spending probably a week or 10 days together over the 2 or 3 trips that he came to New York. So I think tomorrow and these next few weeks are going to be huge for us.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. You didn't actually answer what your favorite part of the trip was this summer?
Which trip? Sorry, Hayden. I didn't mean to.
What was your favorite stop? What was the best thing that you did, do you think?
I would probably say, I talked about people. Food too. Food and travel is a huge thing. So I would say Phuket was incredible. The people were so nice, infectious to be around. Like always, just, it was like almost like I was going home to see Vestry. Like they were just so happy all the time. So I would say definitely Thailand was the most, I would say, diverse, and we got to go to the elephant sanctuary, we got to see the big Buddha, we got to go to the Sunday market, which I felt like I was on parts unknown. It was so I got to somehow live that life and just soak it all in. So that was fun. I got to have a perfect balance between being a tourist and then just being able to relax, and it was a great place actually to take care of my body as well, because it was right after the season, and it was incredibly relaxing, but they had, so much to offer as far as, like body work, osteopath, things that, so I actually ended up leaving in better shape and feeling better than I had when I first got there.
And if we go back to last year, can you speak on the challenges of that, and maybe what you can take from that, what you learn from that will benefit you in this group moving forward?
Well, I think personally, I think injuries are a way to, balance yourself back out. I think that's something that I did this summer, was kind of reassess, as well as just collect more motivation. I think just only playing 22 games last year really, had upset me. And, I think when you talk about your core competencies or your pillar, the biggest pillar for me is basketball. I know that nothing happens without the basketball. So that was, again, I think another just learning experience for me, because I've been very unlucky. It's not like these are non-contact injuries. Like most of these are contact injuries where it's just either wrong place or wrong time, or unlucky in that way. So, I just wanted to, really take a step back and reassess. But as a team, I think just having youngsters, I hate using that word, but young players and guys that are, 24, 25 and younger, whether they play 2, 3, 4 years, you just have to continue to keep bringing them along. You want them to make that next step. You want to continue to elevate their game. And I think our coaching staff will do a great job with that as well. But as far as the vets go, guys that have been here for a long time, played in Cleveland or not, we're going to have to really, really work together and be collectively be leaders, because I think everybody's leadership style is different, and we'll be able to get the best out of other guys in different ways and hold ourselves accountable. So I think more than anything, just not fighting that attrition battle. It's hard to. I mean, you saw that even with Golden State stuff. It was like us our first year in the finals that we just, I had my shoulder, Kyrie, we just had, Delhi, everybody was beat up. And they were, pretty fortunate all the way up until those points to not really have too many devastating injuries to their top guys. And, it was unfortunate that it came to that. But, no, I think just having guys healthy and having strength in numbers is always going to be better for us. So that's another thing that I think, yes, you learn, but also you just have to find ways to see as many games as you possibly can.
Kevin, Kenny Road at WHBC. You were the focal point of a team before in Minnesota. Now you'll be the focal point, it looks like, of this team. What have you learned that is going to be different with this Kevin Love than what we saw maybe as the focal point with Minnesota?
I think just I've learned a lot. This is my 12th season. I think just feeling fresh in my body is going to be huge for me and moving forward and getting the best out of myself. But just an accumulation of knowledge, not only in how to play the games, but in how to be effective. Just being in the right spots, making myself known in the paint, making sure that I'm playing or rebounding on both sides of the ball or both sides of the floor. And I think just continuing to know what it means to sacrifice, making the extra play, and also on the other side of that, I think there's a balance in being selfish and knowing who I am in the right ways as well. So I know what I'm capable of. I think in the past maybe couple or few years, I've taken a back seat so guys can really flourish, and we can get the best out of the team. So I still want to find a way to do that, because I do think there's guys on this team that can really make a step in the right direction. But just like James Jones told me a long time ago, just continue to be myself, and I think I can really still get a lot done in this league for a number of years.
More importantly, I have a dog as well, a golden. All right. Did you use the Bell method with potty training, or how did you?
We have the Bell method not only in New York but also here as well. So she's picked that up. Plus, we when we went on some of those trips, we sent her to training, and she's been kicking ass. So she's very smart. She picks it up pretty fast.
Kevin, Nick Camino, WKYC. I don't know if I can follow Kenny's second question up there. When people talk about your name and this Cavs team, the word we're already hearing is trade. I feel like you've answered those questions since you got here in 2014. How are you better now dealing with that as opposed to maybe when you arrived?
I think just in my life in general, just being more settled in, just taking what comes to me, and just continued pursuit on just being better. I know that's pretty vague, but just there's always going to be that noise. I think that's going to continue through this year, next year, however many. I have 4 years left on this deal, because we do have a young team, and I think we have a new coach. We have a number of new players. I mentioned those guys that are 25 or younger that are somewhat new to this league or new. So I think there's always going to be that idea to restart and go younger. But until that time comes, or if it ever comes, I'm just going to continue to be me, and play great, stay healthy, and just try to get the best out of myself and the other players on this team.
Last question.
Kevin, Jacob Krantz, WJW. You've been an advocate for mental health and the stigma. I know you spoke to Charlemagne the God recently. With it being the star of the team and being that off the court, how do you think you're going to balance that, being the superstar and being the advocate for mental health that you have been?
Yeah, I mean, I know what comes first, and that's this game. This game has, afforded me opportunities, like you mentioned, on a platform like this, to be able to speak about a topic that is not necessarily easy for everyone to speak of, but continue to pay it forward, when I do have that time, and, just continuing to, on certain days or, throughout the season, just continue to collect knowledge, even if I'm not, not out there having those talks or being super vocal about it on my platforms or elsewhere. So I think it's just continuing to to spread that word and continue to help the next generation, younger demographic. And I think that it takes many different shapes and forms. I think that'll be, my life's work. But knowing that basketball has gotten me to this point and opened me up for opportunities to help people. And, we're in a league where, you can go down the street here, you can see, what this game has allowed LeBron James to do as far as the I Promise School. So I think we're fortunate to be in a league that doesn't just support us, they push us and want us to have these tough conversations about a variety of topics. So, just having gone through a number of mental health struggles myself, whether it be in my childhood all the way up till now and living with it every day, I think it's important to continue to talk about it and, just continue to have that voice. So it's like anything in life, just have to find balance, and at the root of any relationship, even if it's with yourself, just have that communication.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks.
Collin Sexton will be at the podium shortly.
What's up? A little bit. All right, we good?
All right, questions for Collin?
How you doing, Collin?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Tony Mitchell from WRGM, ESPN Radio, Mansfield, Ohio. So we're going to have a truly young and exciting backcourt this season. I can't wait to see it happen. But you were primarily point guard last year. Have you been told you're moving over to shooting guard, and are you comfortable with that?
Nah, I'm not moving anywhere. Just because with Coach, if he brings it up, then or if I bring it up, he plays a two-guard offense, and we're just gonna get up and down. Pretty much just play together and just play off each other and just play off each other's reads. That's how Coach likes it.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. What have you learned about Darius that you didn't already know being around him the last couple of months?
He's great. Great. He likes to have fun. He's young too. So we have a really good young group of kids this season, and I just can't wait. I can't wait just to continue to grow and learn each other, and especially with Kevin, Dylan, and Dean. So we're gonna be young group guys. So we all can hang out now. So we got a little bit of younger guys to hang out with. So yeah.
Going through what you went through last season as a rookie with the team, what do you think you learned going through that you can benefit from in year two?
No matter the wins and losses, you can control your attitude. You can control you coming in work each and every day with the right attitude and wanting to get better and trying to get better. That's the only thing you can control.
James Erpine, 92.3 The Fan. Collin, we all know how the second half of last season was for you. You started to surge and have success. How different of a player are you now than you were on the final day of last season?
Much different. I watched a lot of film, over 1,000 hours of film, just over the things that I felt like I need to improve on from last season, so that this season I could be well-rounded and do a lot better at them. So, and then also just pretty much just talking to the guys and asking them for their expectations for us as a team this year, and just getting a feel from them. So.
What are your expectations for this team?
As a team, just do better defensively, just because last year was one of the worst teams ever, defensive categories. So we have to pretty much just lock down on defense and take pride into it. So.
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal. Those 1,000 hours of film, was that you or other guards or?
Just all around. It was a lot about myself, a lot of my mess-ups. And then also just learning from a lot of different guards, because you can definitely learn and take away from a lot of different NBA guards out here.
And I mean, I know when Darius was drafted, the Portland, model came up. Did you study those guys too?
Oh yeah, I studied them as well as Kyle Lowry and Van Fleet, how they did really good in the finals, and how they both just pretty much just played off each other and had a tremendous series. So.
Spencer Davies, Basketball Insider. What's up, Collin? Last year, going through what you guys did, do you feel like that helped you prepare for a season like this, knowing the ebbs and flows are going to happen? This is the NBA. It's a long season. I mean, do you feel more equipped going into this year than you did last?
Oh yeah, absolutely. As a team, I feel like we can't go back. We can't go backwards. We can only move forward and continue to get better. Last season, it wasn't a really good season for us as a whole. We had a lot of injuries. We had a lot of different things like that. But we can control coming in and just getting better each and every day and trying to move forward and focus on the things that we can control. So.
And even though you're trying to build on what you did last year, it's still a new season. And new coach staff, new pieces. Yeah. Is that exciting for you guys?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a different culture. We're trying to have a lot of great people around here, as far as the people who run the facility, as far as the coaching staff, everyone, they have a part into it, and we just got to go out there and just do our jobs.
Hey, Colin. Greg Swartz, Bleacher Report. You and Kevin Love only got to play together 22 times last season with his injuries. How is he going to help make you a better player, and how can you help him likewise?
Kevin, he's going to make everyone a better player, just because teams, they're going to be scrambling on different rotations. You have to rotate to him. You have to play him honest. He's going to help get shots for everybody on the team, not just myself. So I can't wait to have him back on the floor. It's going to be great.
I can't remember who said it. Might have been Deli. Said he thought you'd really gotten stronger. How do you think that's going to help your game when you're, I assume driving to the rim, but what was the purpose of that, I guess?
Oh, yeah. I just felt like I needed to get stronger. In the off season, that's when you really have to really treat your body right and do the things that's going to help the upcoming season. And I felt like I needed to get stronger so I can just finish around the rim a lot better and just be able to fight over the screens and not get hit on every screen. So different things like that.
Collin, talking to some people around the team, they have spoken about you taking a next step in terms of leadership this year.
Yeah.
How do you describe your leadership style?
I would say vocal, just going out there and just pretty much just letting it be known and just being a vocal leader and just being pretty much just a teammate, a real all-around good teammate. And no matter what, I want to be someone you can come to me about pretty much anything. It doesn't have to be about basketball. It can be about anything. So that's what a leader is.
Chris Manning, SB Nation. Defensively, coming off your rookie year, what do you feel like you learned the most from last year's defensive struggles, and what you want to improve on this year?
Just lapses on defense, not rotating on backside, giving up a lot of easy layups and different things like that, and just not locking in on the game plan and not locking in on what we need to be doing. As far as like that's going to help us get the victory at the end of the day. And not just going out there and just playing, but playing to the game plan that the coaches that have drawn up.
And you played against Darius in high school. What do you remember about the one time you guys did face off? He said you dropped 30 on him. What do you remember?
That's what. Yeah, I had my team. We had played him at City of Palms. We beat him. Yeah, I was coasting a little bit until one of Darius' teammates just started talking a little bit. I think I had like 35 or something, a little bit. Yeah. It was a smooth 30, and we came out with the win, so that's all that mattered.
Evan Damer on Forbes Sports. You mentioned that you were working on your defense over the summer. You mentioned working on your defense over the summer, and I was just wondering, did you work on your playmaking as well, and what you did to improve that side of your game?
Oh yeah, I worked on my defense. A lot of people don't work on defense over the summer. They work more on offense, but that's a big aspect as far as itself, just because we got to guard some of the best guards in the league each and every night. It's no nights off, and as far as my playmaking aspect, just got a little bit of open run, open gym here and there, and just pretty much just like just reading off different defenders and pretty much just making the right reads, and the reads that I should have been making last year that I didn't see until I'm able to see this year just by watching a lot of film and different things like that. So.
Collin, Ron Potesta with the Sports Animal 1390. There's 5 rookies in camp. Majority of them are probably going to be on the roster at some point during the season. You completed your rookie year last year. What piece of advice will you, or if asked, will you just go up to some of these rookies and say, hey, here's the one piece of advice I can give you about your rookie season?
I would say one piece of advice, I would say everybody's path won't be the same. So you can't look at your path as the same as the next guy just because y'all are on two different paths. So you have to pretty much find your path and take it that way and just do it to the best of your ability. And everybody's roles are totally different. So you have to make sure the role that you get and the time that you get on the court, you do something with it just because you never know when it's going to come again.
Last question.
Collin, the word expectations has been used a lot today in various of our press conferences here. I'm just curious, your real-world expectations for this team. I'm not talking about crazy stuff, but if you talk to people who cover the game, the expectations for the Cavaliers are pretty low. How about from the inside? What's your view of what the season can be?
All those negative comments, we're just going to use those as more fuel to our fire. and we're going to just go out there and try to win as many games and continue to get better each and every day, and that's about it. Right now, we have a few goals set as a team, but y'all see them when we reach them.
Thanks, Collin. Tristan Thompson will be at the podium shortly.
So, questions? I'll be trying out for the Cleveland Browns next summer. I'm joking.
Chris Manning, SB Nation. Right here, Tristan. After having not had to play into June this past summer, how do you feel better or more refreshed mentally and physically just by virtue of that much less of game time into the summer?
Yeah, I think this summer was more just getting time to relax and decompress, having a longer off season. Of course, as a competitor, you want to play all the way to the end, but for this summer, it was just a summer of just getting healthy, just recalibrating, getting more time off for the family, and just enjoying, being 28 and just being with my kids and what life's really about.
Tristan, Greg Swartz, Bleacher Report, front row. Now that you're going into a contract year for the first time, what feels like forever, do you feel any pressure to maybe modernize your game a little bit with shooting, playmaking, or do you feel like with your defense, rebounding, playoff experience, all that stuff kind of speaks for itself at this point?
Yeah, and I'm a made man. I've been in this league for 9 years and had a lot of success at the highest level. What I do, not many few can do on this planet. So that is obviously, that's my bread and butter. But of course, you want to keep expanding your game and adding new things every year. So I've definitely done that. But at the end of the day, when the going gets tough, you always need a guy that does what I do. That's why that's why it's only very few of us. And we're usually on, very high-level teams. So of course, it's good to add new things to your game, but I'm a made man. Just go out there and just be myself this year.
There's a video of you and some of the clutch guys playing pickup. Darius was there, Ben Simmons. What did you learn about Darius? You've had a connection, but what did you learn just playing with them, with other NBA players, and what did you come away most impressed with?
He's got a great feel for the game. He's got a great feel. He's got a great pace. He could shoot the lights out the ball, which is great, especially from deep. So, especially in the pick and roll with me and him, it's definitely going to be a very nice combination. And with the way he's able to handle the ball, and he's, like I said, he's got a good feel for the game, especially at that young of an age, understanding the game. I'm very impressed, and I'm excited for him.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Tristan, what were your thoughts when you heard that the Cavs hired John Beilein as head coach?
No, I was excited. I know Nick has played for him, and a couple of other players he's played for him, Darius Morris. So I saw him this summer, so I just asked about coach, and they all loved him. They said he's an offensive guru in terms of offensively, which is great. And, I'm excited for him. It's a new chapter for him. He's had, decades in college basketball and has had success there. So I think for him, he was excited for a new challenge. I think for him in Michigan, he did everything he could do there. So I think it was just time for just a change and a new challenge. So I'm happy for him.
Are there things that he has asked you to do that are maybe different from previous coaches, or do you anticipate doing things in a different kind of way, getting that freedom?
Yeah, he just wants us to go out there and play, which is great. I think for him, like I say, he's an offensive guru. He wants guys to get better throughout the year, and I think he wants everyone just to be basketball players. Be basketball players, don't put you in a box, and that's what you want from your coach, especially a new coach. He kind of wants to see, what can you bring to the table instead of just boxing you up before even knowing who you are as a player, right? So, especially for him being, in college, you don't watch as many NBA games. You got so much going on in college, recruiting, games, tournaments, all that stuff. So for him, he's just like, let me see what you got, and then from there, we'll figure it out.
And how difficult was last season for you guys as a team, and going through what you had to go through? How do you think that can benefit you this year and maybe even moving forward?
I mean, in terms of difficulty, I think it was just difficult, in terms of winning ball games. But in terms of just like the energy with the guys, like it was one of the more happier years, I would say, just because we have a good group of guys. Guys that are just good people. So it was fine coming to work, even though you're not getting the results in the game. You're losing games, but it was actually it was fun coming to work, seeing guys every day because they're actually good people, and that always makes the whole process easier.
Tristan, Ron Potesta with the Sports Animal 1390. For the first time in your career last year, you averaged a double-double. And looking at those numbers, I know this is the contract year and potential last year in Cleveland, though I want you to stay in the organization for quite some time. Is that motivation for you to do even more, knowing that you broke that glass ceiling, averaging a double-double last year?
Yeah, no, you want to keep building. Like you said, first time in my career averaging a double-double. So I want to keep that going and just keep pushing for bigger and better. So the key is just to stay healthy. And I've done a lot of that this summer to make sure I take care of my body and put myself in a position where I can be out there every night for my teammates. And as long as I'm out there, I'll be able to, do what I do.
Tristan, James Erpine, 92.3 The Fan. Collin Sexton is known for his work ethic. How impressed are you with what he did in the offseason? He looked noticeably bigger and stronger.
Yeah, no, he took, pride in his body, understanding that, the NBA is a lot of games and a lot of grind. I think he found that out playing those, over 40 minutes a game a lot of those nights. So for him, it's great that he's put his body first because, that's very helpful in terms of injury prevention. And we're going to need that from him. Every year, you guys got to come back better. And for him to take his body serious this summer is a step to show you that he's serious.
How do you think him and Darius can fit together in the backcourt?
I mean, we're trying to build a CJ Dame situation. So, those are two kids that know how to play. They're young. They're high energy, high motor. So it'll be fun to watch.
Spencer Davies, Basketball Insiders. Tristan, going through what you guys went through last year as far as the losses and stuff like that, how much is it on you guys, the veterans, to show the young guys that there's ebbs and flows in an 82-game season? It's a long time. There's a lot that comes with it. How much of that onus goes on to you guys, the veterans? Yeah, no, it's a long season, especially for these the rookies. They're used to playing 30-something games, right? So for us, we got to tell them, you're going to have some nights where you feel like, this NBA stuff is easy. You're going to have nights where you feel like, man, do I belong? But you just got to stay the course. It's on us veterans to kind of help their process easier. However we can help them be the best they can be, that's on us. And as a leader of this team, it's important for me to help these guys transition very smoothly because I want them to be the best they can be.
Anything else? Last question.
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal. I don't even know if you were paying attention, but all the places Kevin went, were you a little bit jealous?
Man, it was a great summer for Kevin. I thought he was going to come with a retirement speech after all that traveling he was doing. But no, it was a great summer for Kev. He deserved it, man. 4 years in the finals and long summers. He did exactly what he should have did. Enjoy it. Just get away from basketball. You're going to have 7 months of this game, and if you make the playoffs, you get 8 months. So you need to just take time to just enjoy the fruits of your labor. How about that? You signed a deal. You got some money in your pocket. Go ahead and enjoy that money.
But did you feel like you and him, that's kind of can give you a little new lease on life kind of thing? Just a break.
Yeah, no, sometimes you just need to get away from the game and just, of course you want to play in the playoffs, but sometimes you just need to go and just enjoy life. It goes by so fast. I remember being a rookie, me and Kyrie and having barely any facial hair, to us being, year 9, and he's been on 3 teams. I've been here. We've been to 4 finals, won a championship, had Antoine, put it like this, we had Antoine Jameson and Anthony Parker as our vets our first year. So it goes by so quick. You got to enjoy every moment of it. Hi.
Thanks, Tristan.
Yep, I'm out.
That will do it for the podium portion of Media Day.